Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Not In, All In, the semi-regular show here at notinhallofame.com, where when we've got things that we want to get off our chest or just react to the daily sporting events, we kind of do. I'm Kirk Buchner, along with my co-host, Chris Mouradian. How you doing, Chris?
I'm good tonight, Kirk. How you been?
I've been okay, but as I told you, I've been sort of like waxing poetic about my youth. I was just in Canada. Uh, so clearly I'm not recording this from El Salvador, as a lot of my family members thought. On the way back, I was going. I swear, they were worried for me to come back into the country. Uh, I and I don't know why all my paperwork's in order. Uh, but anyway, so I brought some memories of home. I got my Molson, huh?
There you go.
And I got my Labatt Blue. When I was a kid, I thought these were the only two beers that existed.
I actually, when I was playing hockey, we had a Labatt's sponsor one year, and we had a Molson sponsor one year. So I'm
No
very
way.
familiar with those guys. Yeah.
And I didn't even know that Labatt was even brewed. It was even available in Wisconsin.
I have no idea if it was or wasn't. I got it through the bar sponsor that we went to. So hey,
Look at that. All right. Well,
good times.
yeah. But I'm going to start off with something that sort of it's my mortality it took a beating today because an icon of my youth, not somebody I actually liked bluntly, but he was a big part of everything. Hulk Hogan died today. And Hulk Hogan, love him or hate him, and I'll go into a lot of reasons why a lot of people weren't exactly upset that he died. Because, well, but we'll get there. I wasn't a Hulkamaniac, Chris. I was always cheering
Hmm.
for Roddy Piper, Randy Savage, Ric
Sure.
Flair. Uh, I went to the WrestleMania 6
Okay.
and at Toronto Sky Dome, then called the Sky Dome, and I was cheering for the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
Who actually, if you look at some of the things he did, oof.
Hmm.
But anyway, that's a story for another time. I never sort of liked it was the same match over and over. He say your prayers, eat your vitamins, blah 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 blah. I just like the bad guys. Always like the bad guys. But if it wasn't for Hogan, I wouldn't have been watching pro wrestling. Virtually almost every North American my age or maybe younger watched because of Hulk Hogan. That's that's a reality. When I didn't have a whole lot growing up as a kid, uh, and I don't mean financially. Financially, we're always fine, but emotionally, I didn't have a lot. Wrestling was always there for me. So even though Hogan wasn't never my guy, he was. You can't take away that he was the reason for it for everybody. That's a fact. Now in his later years, uh, ironically enough, his death follows the 10-year anniversary of when his with that leak. Uh, and for those who may not be familiar with that, basically that was again a situation that I don't even know how this happens, where he agreed because he was going through some hard times. So his best friend, Bubba the Love Sponge, who was I think I can safely say was. I don't think he's doing anything anymore. Said, you know what? You can bang my wife, and he recorded it,
Yeah.
unknown to Hogan. That comes out, and then the video comes out of that happening, which is embarrassing enough. And then later, the actual dialogue of what he said, which is basically I'm not going to repeat it because it's pretty disgusting, but basically he dropped the N word multiple times in reference to a black man dating his daughter, and it was pretty vile. Obviously, it's language he used many times before, and when the WWE tried to welcome him back, I think a year or 2 years later, I forget when, he wasn't necessarily sorry for it. He just said, "Remember, brother, gotta always watch what you're saying. You never know who's watching you." So the man had no contrition at all. Uh, it's compulsive liar. I don't know why when you're Hulk Hogan, you need to make up shit to make your own life seem more flamboyant or interesting than it was. Yeah, I used to play in a band. Metallica never called you to possibly be in the band, which he claimed. I don't know if you know that, but that's true.
I knew about the band, yeah, because I'd heard some stuff. I listened to a podcast where he was the guest, I think last
Mhm.
summer or so, something like that. Kind of remembering some of the stuff. I can't remember the podcast now to save my life, but yeah, I remember the band story and talking about his dad and things like that. So
Well, I mean, he sold so many Whoppers. I was going to have you and Dave on a game show called "How Do We Know Hulk Hogan's Lying?" And I was just going to go through all his list of bullshit. Another one, he claimed that he was asked to be to get have Mickey Rourke's character in The Wrestler. To which the director Darren Aronofsky
Aronofsky, yeah.
said no. that was never that was never possibly going to happen. He talked about how he wrestled for a sick kid in Wembley Stadium. Only he never wrestled in Wembley Stadium. Talked about how he partied with John Belushi after WrestleMania. Belushi died 3 years before WrestleMania ever existed. Elvis Presley was a Hulkamaniac. Elvis died before he wrestled. Just nonsense shit like that you don't have to. You toured the entire world. You rubbed shoulders with celebrity after celebrity, athlete after athlete. Why do you need to make shit up? But anyway, a lot of people are having mixed feelings, much like myself. Either way, it's just a strange day for me, Chris. And
Yeah.
I never get phased usually by a celebrity death. Usually, whenever, like, my favorite all time was Roddy Piper. So when he died,
Mhm.
I wasn't feeling that. I felt bad as a fan more than anything else. But this just feels more symbolic
Mhm.
of just, man, I'm getting old, my friend. I'm getting
Yeah.
old.
Yeah. So I got a little different take. You know, the man passed away, obviously unexpectedly because it was a heart attack, I heard.
Cardiac
Um,
arrest. Yeah.
cardiac arrest, yeah. So I'm not going to sit here and kind of go, over and be happy that he passed or anything like that. Family's hurting right now. They don't need to hear it. I grew up in Wisconsin here, so back in the day, the territory days, we were part of the Virginia AWA
Oh, yeah.
territory. So got to see Hogan as a young wrestler. So he's been, I kind of on and off watch wrestling. I enjoyed it during the Monday Night Wars. Kind of got back into it then, watched it when I was younger, kind of got away from it back, way. Not really watching it much now, but Hogan was always the the face of wrestling, whether he was, the champion or not. He still brought the the fans out either to cheer for him or to boo him when he was Hollywood Hogan, which was an interesting time because that was never something that anybody thought could happen. But props to him and Eric Bischoff and for being able to pull that off. But no, I look back and how many people he helped get over. Um, Not that many, to be fair, but
No, it's a well, yeah. He was also the master politician behind the scenes.
yeah,
But and I always feel bad because I don't like talking something negative on the day somebody died. But unfortunately, his legacy is just that complicated.
it is, and there's time
So
to
I
dive into it. I like to give it, time, let the
yeah.
family have their time. So, but seeing the tributes and
Mhm.
video clips on X today from like Ric Flair and Ted DiBiase and the matches against the WrestleMania 18 against The Rock and how that just brought so many people out and cheer, and provided so much enjoyment for them. You know, that's how I'm gonna going to think about the Hulkster today, and there'll be time for other discussions later on, and you know, happy to join in on those and share my 2 cents at that point.
Yeah, well, you're a better man than I am, I guess. So I was
I
just
know
I was
better
just
than anybody
whining
else.
about I was just whining about sort of feeling old.
I do feel old. Like I said, that's
But which
it goes back to being 7, 8 years old watching wrestling with my dad. He was him and Nick Bockwinkel and the Gagnes, Jim Brunzell, all those,
Mhm.
Bobby Heenan, those guys, they're gone, you know. And
Well, Jim Brunzell's still with us.
Jim Brunzell, yes, Greg Gagne, I believe is
Greg
as
Gagne's
well,
still
but
alive. Yeah.
but yeah, a lot of those guys are gone now, and it's just it happens. It's happening more often now as I'm getting older, and just kind of reminds you of your own mortality, like you said at the beginning there.
Oh,
And it's tough.
which is a great segue because what I really wanted to talk to you about, it's nothing actually current, but it is your definite get off my lawn take. Uh, uh, Dave, Chris, and I, we have our own little chat group where you floated something which I went, holy shit.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that could obviously never happen.
Mhm.
And although it wasn't all that long ago where they were floating the idea of contracting two teams, I want to
Yeah.
say that was
It was back when it was still the Expos,
still the Expos. Yeah,
because
so
that was one of the teams.
it was the Expos, possibly the Brewers. I can't remember.
Brewers are always kind of thrown around in there too. I don't know if Oakland was an issue at that point. They might not have been because they were still winning World Series out there. But yeah, I have a plan.
All right, you want to do more, a lot more than contract two teams. Let's
Yeah,
go for it.
sure. Yeah, my plan is to contract 6 teams, take it from 30 down to 24,
Okay.
and
Do you
six
have numbers in
teams
mind?
is on purpose. Um, so I watch baseball, I see the games and things like that, and I'm just to me it seems like they've gone from having a talent pool to having a talent puddle. When you look at the struggles to get players into the All-Star game that truly belong there, and the lack of competitive teams every year, year in, year out, it seems like there's maybe about 20 to 25 teams that seem like they're genuinely competitive every year. And some of those fall in, some of those fall out at times too with trades and things like that. But yeah, take it from 30 to 24. And I'm firm on 5 of those teams.
Okay, and they are.
Minnesota, Milwaukee, Miami, Colorado, and Arizona.
Wow. Okay.
So I tried to look at for teams that generally struggle to be relevant, which is kind of like Miami's issue. They buy a team for a year, they win a World Series, and they collapse the team. They've done that twice.
Mhm.
Um, Minnesota, they have some history. Milwaukee's won one pennant in what 60 years now. Um, they're just also runs more often than not.
Not this year.
Um,
Right now, they're the hottest team in baseball.
in Mirage, they won't be there when it matters.
Okay.
Um,
I might keep this clip later.
go right ahead.
You got worried with the least. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Colorado and Arizona, you know, just done with them. Just, anyways, the 6 team is always kind of been a tough one. Oakland is kind of the leading candidate. Tampa Bay, because of their issue with location, they're kind of like the two out there. The California Angels or Los Angeles Angels or Anaheim Angels or whatever the hell they're being called because they keep rebranding themselves. Um, yeah, so why 6? So that would eliminate 240 positions. 40-man rosters, 240 gone. You have 24 teams left. Each team gets 10 of those players. Nice round number way to even it out. You allow the teams to carry a 50-man roster instead of a 40-man roster for 1 year to allow those players that were dispersed to find new homes within the teams, or be traded, retire, whatever. Um, and then you eliminate the everybody plays everybody. You get back to American League and National League, and this helps to recreate rivalries, because we have too many times where you're seeing the actual rivals, like St. Louis and Chicago, get to play each other twice a year, in each, 6 games here, 6 games there. Let's get that back up to 12 or 18 games a year, where they actually start to develop a hatred for each other again. So you start playing more against the teams in your division, more against the teams in your league, and you start to get back to what baseball used to be, which is competitive. And you don't have to use all these little Mickey Mouse gimmicks that the idiot Manfred's been doing lately.
Obviously, this is something that could never happen.
Yeah, and the best part about it is that in order to force it through, you'd have to break the union, which is just cherry on top.
Okay, we're so diametrically opposed on this one, which is kind of cool. Usually we
Yeah.
agree on so much stuff. Uh, okay. Honestly, the on-field baseball would be a lot better. That's true. I would in this fantasy scenario. I mean, I think one team might get rid of it be Pittsburgh because they're never going to be good again.
Yeah, see, in Pittsburgh, I thought about them too, but like I said at the beginning, I tried to keep the teams that had a lot of history. In Pittsburgh, going back into the teens and whatnot, 20s with
Mhm.
their team. I just same with the White Sox too, because I thought the White Sox could easily be one that's could go, but again too, I wanted to keep the teams with the real history that kind of help build the league. Can you tell the story of baseball without Pittsburgh being there? And it's kind of like probably not. So
Minnesota's won a championship.
they won one. Arizona's won one.
Miami's won too, though that's some history. To
Hmm.
your point, I mean, I think everyone was disgusted by how they did that. They got away with that twice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they could do it again, they will.
Hmm.
They
But
absolutely will.
it
So
does raise the question, why hasn't anybody else tried it?
I think others have. Just they didn't. Maybe they just had a little bit more pride. I mean,
Mm.
we've seen small market teams succeed. Kansas City went to back World Series.
Yeah, Kansas City built their team through farm system and some shrewd trades.
Mhm. So I mean, it can be done. I mean, look at everything that the Dodgers are doing, and they're the coldest team right now in
Mhm.
baseball. I think their last 10 games are worse than Colorado's last 10. I think I could be off on that, but I
Yeah,
know they're not
and
playing particularly well and have not been for a while. And
yeah.
we've certainly seen the downfall of Mookie Betts this year. That's a big part
Mhm.
of it.
Yeah.
Uh, you know what I would like
Yeah,
in
go
a
ahead.
perfect world? Which obviously this can't happen either because of the minors. And no, because what I'm going to tell you, like, because the minor league system,
Yep.
can't do this. Or maybe you could, and then you just sort of like have a separate league for that. You know what I like? Relegation.
Mm. Hmm.
Football could potentially do that. There is no minor system. Of course, I don't want to advocate that now because my team, the New Orleans Saints, would be relegated. They're going to be awful this year.
Yeah.
But I would love that in college football. Vanderbilt should be kicked out of the SEC and forced to go to the Sun Belt.
Interesting. I think it could work in college football probably the best
I mean,
out of,
with
out
the
of the
more,
major sports here.
well, on paper, yes. Obviously,
Yeah.
with all the money involved,
Oh, yeah. Money, lawyers, everything else like that. Yeah, it's never going to happen.
yeah. But that is something that it does sort of like make also the end of that interesting. Evan, our good friend, he's a big soccer guy.
Hmm.
His team, Leicester City, got relegated and then came back up. So I mean, it gives you that weird thing to sort of cheer for if your team really stinks. Like, please don't get relegated. Please don't get relegated. It's it's an interesting thing, and I know that a lot of the time because of our age, you more than me, I have to admit, sort of look back a little bit more kind to nostalgia, which is weird considering how I opened this show. But uh,
Yeah. I
yeah, no,
am.
it's
Yeah.
I know I've asked you this before, but I've forgotten because you're a Wisconsin guy who hates the Brewers. Why?
Oh, a couple of years ago, they decided that they were going to soak the taxpayers again for money, and I am very against public money for private profits. And just the whole issue with you know, I'm paying tax money and I can't go there and play on their field. It's like, well, it's public money, it's should be a public facility, but it's not, and it's there, and I was able to, I don't know, I was able to, but I contacted both my representatives, and they both voted against the funding, but there was enough people that wanted to rub elbows with the sports guys to go ahead and approve the funding again. And it's always the same, oh, if we don't do this, they're gonna move. We don't do this, they're gonna take our team away. And well, they're not. They had enough trouble trying to find somewhere to go with Oakland. You think they're gonna try to find another place to take a team? There isn't enough cities ready at this point.
The
And
hottest
even that,
market, hottest free agent market now, in terms of cities, is now taken with Vegas. So
yep. And Nashville's probably second, and that could be a very they'd have to kind of get there, but they're probably the next in line, but they're not there yet. And Tampa Bay still needs a place to go. So it's just, I'm tired of paying money for that. And it wasn't, they couldn't even ask the basic questions, to get them to open their books and show just how poor these teams really are, why they can't afford to do this and do that. And the Brewer owner, Mark Attanasio, to you and me, the guy's wealthy beyond our imagination. But to the rest of the baseball owners, I mean, he's middle class when you
mm,
think about it. And he's been hiding behind the I'm a small market, we're the small team. We can't, compete with the big guys kind of financially, and we need all this help. And he's, his wealth isn't going down every year. It's only going up. And yeah, I'm just
well,
frustrated with the whole financial of it. I would
you
really
change
like to.
ownership. Would you become a Brewers fan again?
Oh, I really want to be, yeah.
Okay.
But like I said, it's that's where my frustration comes in. Why I'm actively cheering against them right now.
Okay.
Um,
Well, I'm
because
pretty
I
against them now because they're playing Seattle.
go Mariners, man.
Yeah. Well, although I'm a
Bring out
Jays
the
guy, but I'm in Seattle now.
um yeah. So that's my frustration. That's why I'm down on. I follow their minor league teams more so than I do their major league teams. I haven't watched a game in several years now. You turn down tickets more often than I can remember. So it is what it is.
Huh?
Eventually, every like with Green Bay for those dark 18 years, things will come back around.
They always do. Actually, they don't always, but often
Mhm.
it does. Uh,
I think that we could have had who's it Dan Gilbert, I think, was the other potential owner,
okay.
um, when they sold it to Adenazio instead, because they were afraid Gilbert might move the team.
And baseball could be facing a very serious work stoppage in 2026, a lockout this time.
Mhm.
But they're not the only ones looking that's going there. There's one more thing I want to talk about today. I didn't tell you
Sure.
about,
No,
but
that's I kind of have an
I
idea.
don't have to because I know you follow sports like I do. Uh, as some people have learned, I follow the WNBA. I want to support the women. I really, really do. Uh, if I were to tell you, I think I said this last year to you. Yeah, give the women a chance. By the way, that final game, yeah, don't watch that. That's horrible. All Star game, horrible. Even worse than the NBA All Star game. It was just utter shit.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
but
saw the low lights. I didn't watch the game.
the low lights, yeah. Yeah, I got that. Yeah, well done. They opened with a "Pay us what you owe us" shirt, all of them,
Hmm.
and that just got everyone talking again, and from different points of view. And a lot of things that people on the to want to say feminist side. Well, some of them are when it comes right down to it. It's like you love it when the ladies of the View are talking about it and they have no idea what the hell they're talking about, but they'll comment on how.
Yeah, it's just a day that isn't why.
Yeah. Although I heard that they're going on a hiatus, so
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. I've never watched that show anyway. It's here we have a fact that they brought up once, and a fact that, and it is a fact. Caitlin Clark on her rookie deal makes 1/66th of what Victor Wembanyama's rookie deal is. And it's a weird mind F. Oh, screw it. Mind fuck. It's a weird mind fuck, right? If you are, especially for her, although you'd never have any frustration from her, she'd never voice it first. Two, she also makes a lot of money in endorsements. So she's doing just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, a lot of the players are not. But it is, however, it is true. And it's a weird thing because I would argue that Caitlin Clark is a bigger household name than Victor is. Would maybe people might not agree with that, but it's close.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you take a poll, I think that there's been enough general coverage of Caitlin since she graduated, came into the league, that I think more so than Victor. Yeah, I can see that.
What's also true is, once again, the league doesn't make money.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to make money this year as it's projected to. What they're really looking for is, a lot of people think they're looking to be paid like the NBA. They're not. They're looking to get the same revenue share that the NBA does, which I believe is 50-50. Right now, they're getting less than 10. More money is going to be pouring in. There's like the new media rights deal that's coming in for them is going to be pretty big. More people are going to the arena. Saying that, here's what's also true. Tickets are pretty goddamn cheap unless Caitlin's playing. It's not hard to take a family of 4 there, like it would be if you went to I don't know, what's the closest WNBA to you? I guess the Fever. So let's just use Indianapolis. Oh, no, that's
okay.
that example.
Chicago's got
okay, Chicago. So let's use that as an example. If you want to go take your family to the Bulls or take your family to the Sky, you could do a whole bunch of other things. You could sort of upgrade your hotel, go to a fancy dinner right after. You can't really, that money will not stretch that way for the Bulls. The Bulls aren't any good. Sky's not any good either, but you get my point.
Yep.
So we have all these things that are true at the same time. It's so bizarre as they're getting more famous, but the money doesn't come in yet.
Sure.
Will be, but now these other women actually have other options. I didn't watch Unrivaled. I'm assuming you didn't either.
No, I don't.
Okay. So like that was for those not aware, and a lot of people weren't because they weren't watching. But the women were making a lot more money on a 3-on-3 league. That was, I think it was Kelsey, who's one of the half owners, Kelsey Plum. I think. I could be wrong, and that doesn't even matter because it's not a league I'm going to watch. I'm not interested in 3-on-3. I'm not interested in 3-on-3 basketball.
Sure.
I'm just not. If it's a men's 3-on-3 league, I don't watch Ice Cube's league either. I got no interest in that. So they could potentially sit out, and they're going to be just fine this time. They're willing to do it. It's an interesting game that they're going to be playing here. If they tried this like 10 years ago, maybe the NBA would just say, arrivederci. But the way that culture has gone, they can't let this happen. I don't know where this goes. I think that they're being really real foolish in a lot of this. Maybe that's not something that you want to put on your shirt. Yeah, you got a great reaction from the people who love you. But that same weekend, Courtney Williams, one of the All-Stars, was denied entrance to a club. And it was the video that was sort of out there. It was more like, don't you know who I am? No, we don't. Most people don't.
Exactly.
And beyond Caitlin, beyond Angel Reese, who I will argue in terms of player recognition, she's number two. I will argue that she's in a lot more commercials than I've ever seen for a lot of the other players put together.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens here? It's
Mm-hmm.
fascinating to me. I've never seen a league like this where so many people want them to fail. And if some people listening think it's all about misogyny, I'm sure for a lot of people who want it to fail, it is. I think, though, for some people who want them to fail, it's because a lot of these women are just not likable. I've said this before. I will say it again. How do you treat the golden goose, which is Caitlin Clark, who is not the best player in women's basketball, despite what some people will say? She might be one day. She's not there now. But bottom line is people pay to see her. That's why Shane Gill, we last week, we said how none of us were going to watch the ESPYs. I did watch Shane Gillis's bit, which was goddamn funny.
Okay.
These women all hate her. Even Kelsey Plum took a sort of a shot at her indirectly when they were talking on the post-game conference. She said how it was sort of hard to get some of the members of team, because it was Team Clark versus Team, I forget who. Doesn't matter. But a lot of them didn't really want to put the shirt on. This is a little bit of a underhand jab at her, because I know Kelsey's very, very jealous of her too. No doubt in my mind, because a lot of those records she broke were hers. And Kelsey Plum, she's a very attractive lady. So I'm sure she's got to be thinking on some level, why the hell am I not getting a lot of those things that Caitlin did?
Sure.
Has to. I
don't
know.
Yeah. So I got a couple things I'll contribute here. Not a fan. Don't watch the games. Like I said, I'll see stuff as it gets posted out there, and obviously I saw this, and I will point out that it wasn't that long ago in our lifetimes where Major League Baseball players would have off-season jobs because they weren't bringing in the money they are today. Pro football players had off-season jobs. They weren't training 24 or 365 days a year. I think some of it is they want to run before their league has been able to grow up enough to walk. And it's obviously in a better position than it was 10 years ago, but it's not in the position where I think they can be coming out and making the demands like they are. I think you can argue that, a 90-10 split is unfair, but at the same time, it's not like the product on the court is generating the revenue that would warrant them to renegotiate it or want to spread it out more equitably.
Well, it's easy to ask for a 50-50 split if the numbers still say that the owners will still make money. If you're losing money and now you're asking us to lose a lot more, that's going to be a hard sell for a lot of owners, especially considering that I think there's still like a lot of these teams aren't necessarily owned by, not all of them are owned by super uber wealthy people.
Sure.
Not all of them, not all these teams.
No. And the fact that they can't even get their shit together enough to protect the meal ticket, that you can promote her in a game like the All-Star game, where everybody that maybe casually just flipping through channels comes across it and hears her name, is like, oh, I heard of her. Let's see what this is all about. And you're damaging your own product by not having her on the court. And I can't support giving them. I can't support somebody wanting to give them more money as an owner when they're not making that back in ticket sales or revenue or however, So if they want to go ahead and strike for,
I know you won't care,
5%, and the league goes away, and a new league pops up in its aftermath or whatever, and they kind of come at things a little differently, and they treat the league differently. Maybe that's what they need to do. But the way it stands right now, they're working against themselves in so many different ways with the way they're promoting themselves and treating the players that should be the ones that are protected so that they can be the face of the league.
Well, there always
Whether the best player or not, she's still the face of the league right now.
there used to be that unspoken thing, and I've talked to a couple ex-hockey players in the 80s, and it was pretty much understood. You don't destroy Wayne Gretzky.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Just don't.
Yeah. And that's
Unspoken rule, but
yeah.
I mean,
And look what it did for the league.
well, absolutely, absolutely. One of the biggest things that ever sort of helped the league, really, and sort of with Bettman's vision was that trade to Los Angeles from Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
For like he wasn't the same player, but it didn't matter. He was still Wayne effing Gretzky.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's my
Okay.
my thoughts on it. So not as deep as you, but
No, it's just it's a fascinating thing because I think
yeah.
a lot of their names are getting more and more out there, and you're still looking around and it doesn't reflect in your bank account. That's got to mess with your head. It has to.
It does, and like I said, I think that's where it's the league has, the players themselves, because of how every other league has really jumped into that financial stratosphere that they are. That this league, it feels like it's the best of what they have to offer, but it doesn't come even anywhere close to the level of, even like hockey, as far as like a major sport, or even soccer in America here, which doesn't really have much going beyond the real rabid fan bases that each team has.
Yeah, I went to a couple Sounders games here. I mean, it's a fun experience, but it's not packing them in. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly. Yeah.
still a lot of
So
fun. I encourage
yeah. So
people
I mean,
to check
it's
out MLS, but
yeah.
yeah. All
But I
right.
think the bigger problem there is I think they have too many teams again. I'm all about reducing sizes of the leagues here.
We should do this again and see who you'd contract in football and basketball. I'd love to hear that.
Football, the only thing I contracted is the schedule back to 16 games because that was the perfect break.
Well, they'll be doing that to 18 in no time.
Oh, I know.
With everyone having to play one mandatory game or two mandatory games in Europe.
I hate those games.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as a fan, it's kind of cool to sort of like watch four in a row that day, except that it's always Jacksonville kicking it off.
I usually got too much going on in the mornings, on Sunday mornings, that I barely get ready to watch a noon game.
Yeah, here it's 10 o'clock in this, yes, 6:30 in the morning, but I still did it. Even for you wait, here's another prediction. The first England-based team is going to be the Jaguars. They're going to move there. You wait.
It's possible. I definitely could see that as being a possibility, but I really believe somebody floated out there of like a 4-team or 8-team European league where they would have kind of similar with the existing divisions and conferences, that they would have the 4-and-4. But we'll see if they wanted to move a team over there right away. Jacksonville obviously would be
Well, the owner's British or Pakistani British. He
yeah.
owns Fulham. Like
They
in,
play 2 games over there already, so
right. So I'm guaranteed that's his long range vision.
yeah.
Guaranteed. But whatever, we will see. I guess with that, the spring's not all into a close. After this, check out www.theusahof.com. That is the United States Athletics Hall of Fame, where you can help shape the USA Hall of Fame class of 2025. It's all done by you. You can vote. You can actually vote every day.
Yep.
So yeah, you can ballot stuff. Hey, and that's legal. And it's still democracy. Better than this. What do you call this here? Your constitutional republic. There's no electoral
Exactly.
college here. We don't do that. So many people I've met since I moved here who actually don't know what that means. But anyway, that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
All right, take care, everybody. Stay safe and have a beautiful day because it never comes. Because enjoy today. Enjoy whatever day this is while you're watching this. Enjoy it because it never comes again. It never comes again. I don't care how many time travel movies you saw. They're not real. They don't happen. Did you make today count? We did. Look what we did. Look what we accomplished. Look what you accomplished. You watched us. That was 30 minutes well spent. I'm rambling. I'm going to stop now. Take care, everyone.